Alright, well, good morning, folks. It's Nick Mulbauer here, and we are crappie fishing. That's crappie number 3, guys. Right now I'm fishing with a bobber, slip bobber and a minnow, and I've done all the work prior to starting to film, so there's the first sizable one we're showing right there. Beautiful little white crappie there. Definitely fillet size. Let him go. And yeah, the work I did prior to is I marked it with my ice flasher. There's a brush pile out here, and there's about 5 foot of brush on either side of those buoys. So that's about, you know, the size of that brush pile. It's pretty big. It's in about, I think, 15 feet of water. Comes up to, I think, about 3 feet under the water, and they're biting hard this morning. I always have 3 methods. I vertical jig them, I use a slip bobber, and they're hitting it like as soon as it hits the water. And I use I fan cast for them, and usually one of those 3 methods will get them. Sometimes one method will catch larger ones than the other, but they're definitely on the chew this morning. Seems as soon as my bobber hits the water with a live minnow on there, they start tinkering with it. But yeah, I caught 2 small ones right off the bat there, and they're pretty high in the water column. I think since the sun is low yet, those crappie suspend a little higher, and once the day progresses and the sun gets higher, those crappie go a little deeper in the pile. So they're just right under the surface right now, and it's making them a lot easier to catch. But yeah, I'm just gonna be out here. We've had some really crummy weather and on the weekend, so I was just like, I am taking a day off where there's no wind. I just want to be outside and enjoy a beautiful day. So whether we catch a bunch of fish or not, I'm just happy to be outdoors. And yeah, it's just going to be a wonderful day no matter what happens. So stay tuned, and hopefully we'll catch a few more. Feels like maybe a little better one. I mean, you can fill a stringer real fast doing this, guys. These pre-spawn bites are amazing. Seems like the plastic is catching a couple larger fish. Those minnows, they were just, you know, catching a lot of them small fish. And that seems to happen pretty regularly with me. If I can fish fan casting, I will, because the plastics catch bigger crappie, it seems like. See, guys, cast after cast, folks. Pre-spawn, I almost do better than spawning season. Just that pre-spawn bite, those fish are just ready to eat. Yep. It's redundant, you know. Just vertical jig them, fan cast them, or use a slip bobber and a minnow. You'll catch them. All you need is an ice flash or a kayak and some marker buoys. They're crucial. You just mark that cover with your flasher. Drop a buoy when you mark the cover. And then just catch some fish, folks. Just catch them. How neat is that, huh, guys? Beautiful. Those are totally eater-sized crappie right there. If you're hungry, get them pre-spawn crappie. It's the funnest bite of the year, folks. The funnest bite of the year. Feels like a better fish, guys. Here's a big, better one. How about that one, guys? That's a good one. See what I talk about size diversity? That's definitely a 12 or 11 to 12, I'd say. Look at that beaut. Maybe 12, 13. Beautiful thick fish. Those are the ones I like to wait around for right there. Same thing though, you know, you catch about for every you know, dozen or so smalls, or 2 dozen smalls, you catch a nice one like that, and it makes it so worth it. I think you just wait around to see how big they'll get. And usually when a big one moves in, it's with a year class of similar individuals of the same size, so you might get into a couple larger individuals, and that's fun. It can be a very small window, but you can take advantage of it and just have a ball. That one just hit it right on the fall again. Smaller one. Yeah, they're just kind of meandering around, you know, they're at different depths. Sometimes they're at, you know, count down to 3, anywhere from 3 to 5 seconds is what I count. 1, 2, 3, start reeling. Real slow. It's funny how I count and show you guys what I'm doing, and I don't catch them on those casts. I'll count down to 4 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slow. Nothing. It's not effective when I'm talking about it. We'll get one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. There, one hit the second time around. Oh, missed him again. 1, 2, 3. Let her rip. There we go. 1, 2. Keep popping off. There we go. Hit it again. Like I said, when they're this aggressive, you know, you miss that fish and just let it drop again. Count to 1, 2, or 3 again. Let that jig fall back to the depth you think it needs to be at, and then just start slow cranking again. Maybe they'll give you another opportunity to hook them. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. There he went. A little black. Oh, that was so awesome. Nice one too. Right at the boat, guys. Woo-wee. Look at this one, guys. That's why you reel it all the way down to the boat, folks. Woo. Look at that feller, one of the biggest ones. That's a nice big fish, guys. Beautiful fish. Keep your lure in the water as long as you can. Maybe one of these will come crush it right next to your boat or kayak. How about that, guys? Beautiful crappie. Right up to the boat. Pre-spawn, guys. I mean, I'm redundant in what I say. There's not much more to teach. Just get yourself some electronics. I mean, you don't have to spend, you can spend like, you can probably get electronics that will mark cover for under $100 used. And just mark that pile. Get yourself a buoy. You don't need two. I just have two so I can mark it a little better and get an idea of how big it is. Get yourself a buoy, drop it right where that brush is, and just fish it. Fish it. Amazing. Oh, Jesus. This is a nice fish, guys. What will it be? Catfish? Or it's a giant bass, guys. Ooh, it's a fucking giant bass. This bass is huge, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. If he gets off, I'm not even surprised. I'm only on small line. Oh, look at that, guys. She looks blind. Oh, oh my gosh. Look at the size of this bass, guys. Oh my gosh. Look at that girl. Look at that gut. Look at that, guys. That is a master angler. I caught a bigger one earlier this year, but dang, she's big. One good eye, she's blind. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I caught one a lot bigger earlier this year, but that is a cool catch crappie fishing. Yeah. Oh, that gets your heart thumping. I was contemplating bass fishing today. I guess it happened right there. We'll get her back. Wow. That is quite a fish, guys. Gut. Pre-spawn girl. There she goes. Let her get back to her living. Whew. That minnow had been had. Wow. That was super cool. That's a first off of a brush pile like that. I've never caught a bass that big off a brush pile. Dang. I can't believe she came out of that brush pile. If she would have dove into those trees, I would have been broke off immediately. That would have been a done deal a long time ago. That was quite miraculous that that fish even got landed, because this tackle is not ideal for a bass like that. I'm glad I had my drag set, or I would have been done. Ooh. Little Easter egg there. That was a big fish. I had to have been pushing 20, I would say. She's big. Cool. Bonus fish. I'll take that any day. Love catching bass too. A lot of fun. Oh, God. Now I have freaking two fish on. That's the mistake we make. Look at that. All right, let's do this. Can we do a double team? What's this, another darn bass? We got to keep this fish out of that brush pile if we can. Another bass, folks. Goodness. I'm just in over my head. Oh my gosh, what am I even doing? Oh my gosh. 2 rods, 2 fish, what do we do? My word, and that fish choked it. I thought the bite was turning off. I might need to cut the line. Oh, that worked well. All right, guys. Another chunker. Ooh, crud. I don't have enough room on my kayak for this many fish. Chunker bass right there. Get her back. Goodness. All right. Then we got a then we got a crappie here from fan casting. What do you even do? That's some spring fishing. Oh my goodness. And a white crappie, guys. Wow. The bass have moved into this pile. I've never had that happen before. This is some pre-spawn fishing right here, folks. Goodness sakes. Oh my gosh, my reel's gonna be trashed now. Went in the water. It's gonna be so bad. I'm gonna have to make a cast and just reel it up and get the water off of it. Ay, ay, ay. It's running pretty good. Once it dries out, it's gonna be garbage. Oh my gosh, all the excitement today, guys. All the excitement. I seem to pick the right times to film a trip, don't I? Wow. My goodness. There we go, folks. I decided to switch it up, and there's one on the jig. Pepper Customs micro jig. I didn't even trim the skirt, so I wasn't sure. Black craw, a little largemouth there. Not as big as those ones earlier, but basically I decided to hang it up on the crappie. I'd caught plenty, and their sizes just weren't doing it for me today. I just couldn't get into those larger year class, so I was like, you know, I'm gonna go bass fish for a little bit, try to catch them on the jig, and there we go, one bass on the jig. A lot of fun. I'm not a great jig fisherman, so I was like, I need to work on that. Because I've definitely seen how jigs can catch some large fish, and I was just like, I just want to throw that jig around some isolated cover, see if I can't catch a largemouth. Lo and behold, there we had one. So working on my jig game the rest of the morning before I call it a day. So one rounds out the day pretty good. So I'm not a great jig fisherman. There's a good one, folks. Set the hook on that one good. Stay on here, turkey. That's a good one, guys. Ate the jig. Down there. Look at that chunk, guys. Did I have to say pre-spawn fishing again? Crappie, bass, we don't care. Look at that. Ate the jig. Beautiful bass there, folks. Gorgeous. Look at the gut. Beautiful fish. I'm gonna get a pic of her if she doesn't pull off. Gorgeous female there. Beautiful largemouth. guys. Bit that jig real nice. Boom. That's 2 giant largemouth today. One by accident, one on purpose. Fishing that sun-soaked rock point here. Said I'm working on that jig fishing. Working on that jig fishing. I don't even know what I'm doing. That was dumb luck. Trying to talk to my wife about some other stuff and then that happens. What do you know about that? Alright folks, I think it's about time to call it a day. My wife said she's getting hungry and so am I, so I guess one thing I wanted to say earlier and I didn't say was when I'm fishing with a jig for bass, I like using a braid or fire line that has 0 stretch so I can really feel every bit of vibration or tick on that line. It really helps for, you know, when you make a long cast, you can really feel that fish smack that jig. I have a leader put on there, and that's just because I had a leader on there already from fishing it another time with a top water bait, but I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I don't know if it's necessary. I've talked to a couple buddies who fish jigs more and they say it doesn't really make or break their fishing. So yeah, I think the most important thing though is just having a line with no stretch. In my opinion, that really helps me when I'm jig fishing. I'm no expert at jig fishing. I'm trying to get better at it, but that is definitely something that really helps me feel those fish at the end of the line when they hit that lure. You know, to cap the day, we had 2 nice bass. So I wasn't really planning on bass fishing. I thought maybe it was just going to be an all crappie day, but I just couldn't really get into a nice size average fish. Like, you know, I was pulling a lot of dinks and I pulled some decent ones, but I really like to have some larger averages, and I just couldn't pull that off today. So, you know, decided to do a little bit of bass fishing and improve my jig game. But you know, it's been an absolutely amazing day. Like, it's just absolutely beautiful outside. It's just been a joy being outdoors. You know, it's just, I just love having every opportunity I can get to be outside. So, and you know, we caught a ton, an absolute countless crappie. We caught some nice largemouth. So all in all, a fantastic day on the water. I can't wait to get back out another day, but you know, definitely got my fill today. I had a great day and I can't complain. There's absolutely nothing to complain about. Love the weather. Get out and fish, guys. Get outside, do whatever you like to do. Just be outdoors. It's so good for you, and it's just good for you. So get outside and enjoy that weather. Spring's coming around every day. It's a little warmer. Get out and enjoy it. One of the best times of the year, fishing, everything. So y'all take care and have a good one, guys. I'll see y'all next time.